later, just the other day.
To welcome everyone here. They're going to call this meeting to order at 9:21 a.m. Sorry for the late start. We will begin with the opening prayer by Mr. Hayden Forward, and then we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by
Our gracious Father in heaven, we thank you for bringing us together this day as citizens of Catron County and as friends and neighbors. Father, we thank you for allowing us the opportunity to live in this country, in this county. Father, we pray for rain. It's so desperately needed. This grateful ground will be appreciative. And Father, we ask that the rain relieve the anxiety of our citizens. Please open our minds and our hearts this day. Help us do good work for the county to benefit everybody in whole. And we do thank you for the blessings you've given us. We say this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it is one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So, everybody able to look over the agenda? Is there any changes or anything that needs to be questioned before? Is there any discussion about the agenda?
I just actually
Yes?
creation of the letter of support for USDA, wildlife services,
Yes.
put that on the June 25th. That's what it's something.
Okay, so we can strike item D from the action items.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
I don't have it.
Okay, seeing as there is none, is there a motion?
I'll second.
It's been motioned second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of minutes, August 13th, 2025. Is there any discussion? Seeing as there is none, is there a motion?
A motion.
It's been motioned seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Now, we'll move into public comment. During this portion of our meeting, we welcome your suggestions and want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. The county commission is not able to act on matters discussed during public comment. Speakers are requested to state their name for the record. We'll open up. Anyone? Yes, sir.
Jeff Chapman, Blue Hill Subdivision. I'm here concerned about the EV charging station in Bytown. As it was stated last meeting by the county attorney, the county cannot be in business for itself. And by putting in an EV station, you're going to have to charge. Someone's going to have to be responsible for the charge. Taking in the debit cards, and what I'm assuming they never be a cash, the internet to run the business, and as you stated, the transformer at the public park, that runs our fire station. So even to be that, we still have to sell ground. How are we going to go ahead and do that? I just think it's just a bad idea. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Moving on. We will go on to the presentation part of our, and we will open this time for the Cowboy Clinic to provide a presentation.
My name is Jennifer DeZia, nurse practitioner from Cowboy Clinic. Cowboy Clinic. And so today we just want to take a few minutes to give out some general information on an important day when the commissioner will be voting whether or not the Cowboy Clinic gets to move into the building that will soon be vacated by PMS. And so everyone's heard of good cop, bad cop. Today we're going to do good nurse, bad nurse. So Kendra's going to tell you bad news first.
Oh.
I get to be the bearer of bad news. So it's actually not bad news. It's
considering everything that's happened in the over the meeting to lose our hair, we're actually in a good place to help you guys, so that is actually not that bad. So we are still fighting for our credentialing for Medicaid, which is a huge hindrance for us. That's about 85% of our patients, and we aren't getting reimbursement. We are still seeing people because people need care, but we aren't getting reimbursed for that. So we are still fighting with the state of New Mexico to try to get that credentialing. We have another meeting today. There's also the Rural Health Fund overseen by the Healthcare Authority. And there's potential for us to get some money from that left over from PMS's, what PMS didn't take from the grants. Our hope with that is to maintain a dental clinic, but we would need all of that funding to do that. Otherwise, PMS is taking everything out of the dental clinic and there wouldn't be dental care there. So we're doing our best to fight for that to make sure that you guys still have dental care as well as health care. But we definitely need for the HCA to give us all of the money that is available.
Was it VHC?
HCA, the Healthcare Authority.
Okay.
So they have a $20 million rural healthcare fund. PMS gets money from that. We apply for 1.5 million of that if we have to replace it.
Okay.
Then we're going to talk about just our clinic here in Reserve. Kendra and I plan to work here in Reserve at this clinic, so there will be 2 full-time providers, not always at the same time, but we do eventually plan to initiate some urgent care services there where we put a sleeping room in the break room and have a phone that could buzz us awake if it's an emergency in the middle of the night, and we would take turns doing that as well. And then we also want to talk about the Quamato Clinic. So I have not spoken to the school in Quamato. They own the building, and I haven't spoken to them yet because we want to make sure we have all of this in order to do that. But I was contacted by both Lazaro and Fran Steer, who are 2 nurse practitioners that work for PMS, didn't want to work for PMS anymore, but they both want to come back and work with us. So they are talking about staffing Quamato. Lazaro, I don't know where he is right now, but he said he could be back in November. Fran's at Longwood for a couple months, but she can also be back. So hopefully we get this clinic open. We will also have 2 more, 1 full-time, 1 part-time provider in Quamato. So that would give us 4 providers total, which is probably more than we've spent in St. Tony. This is all, of course, depending on grant money. And then the last thing is we also have a person who's going to join us in a part-time behavioral health person, Stacy Holmesley, who was an RN at the school and now got a master's degree in counseling, and she does her board exams in October. And when she passes her board exams, then she wants to have an office at the clinic as well. So we also have on-site with Paula. And if we can keep the dental office and 2 providers at each clinic, we can provide better health care than spending.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so a few questions. On the Medicare side, is there anything that we can do as a county? So that credentialing is based upon who?
There's a Yes New Mexico website and they work with another, it is the problem is the website. Yeah. And NewMexico.gov. They don't know how to use it either. They just keep putting us with different people and they say do this one day, the next day they tell us to do the opposite. We have 4 legislators' offices who have intervened on our behalf.
Okay.
Dave Ramos, Lieutenant Governor, Gabe Vasquez, and the governor's office. We have contacted all of them, explained our problem, and everyone reaches out. We'll get together with these IT people. Unfortunately, none of those IT people seem able to fix their glitch in their computers. So we're still working on that. We've been working on that for 6 months now. And because we have to have New Mexico Medicaid approved before we can even apply for credentials from Presbyterian, Molina, and WellCare. And the very first, I have contract assigned for United Healthcare, but the very first question is, what is your Medicaid number? And I don't have one, because 6 months, they can't get it through.
Said you're having a meeting today.
So we have another one-on-one session today at 12:30. We've done this a number of times. They get it through, they tell us, yep, no, it's all gonna be great, and then we submit it, and the next morning, application denied, because it's not the right information.
They walk through and build the entire application with us and tell us what to put in it. Then when we submit it, they kick it back to us as wrong.
So we've done this over and over and over
Right.
again. And now they have a brand new person that's been there 3 weeks. She just took over. I feel sorry for her, but it's a very bad program.
Okay, well, I was just wondering, but it looks like you've already reached out and have the right people in place on it, trying to move it forward.
We are trying, we are,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you ask PMS if they have any advice?
No, they really don't have anything to do with it. In fact, this was part of the problem is they told me, they kept telling me we deleted all the accounts with your name, your MPI, whatever, but I can't start an account because it keeps saying I have an account. Then they made me go through an incognito window through like the back of the program to get in, and then turn up, there's my PMS account. And they were saying, well, yeah, it's so great because then your account just follows you. And I'm like, well, then why didn't it follow me since last February, since I've been, bashing my head against a brick wall trying to get this to go. We had professional credentialers also. I paid them thousands of dollars. They couldn't get it through. And now it turns out Felicia King, he's a psych NP that worked for PMS, was trying to start her own clinic as well. She's having the same issue we are, so we know we're not.
But the state isn't resistant. They just don't have the people in place to help you. Is that?
They seem to work their own program is what seems to be.
Okay.
And we have told them, even if you have to go get a FBI IT analyst in Quantico, this is on you, get somebody here that can fix this. And it's ridiculous that would take 6 months. The feds had us done in 2. State in New Mexico with 6 months and still counting.
Oh, that would help.
If
All
you
right.
have ideas, we are open because we are still continuing to beat our head against walls. So
Yes, no, because we understand how big of an issue that is.
It's huge.
Yeah.
3 out of every 4 people in this county have med.
Yes,
So we're blocked from billing for all of those people, plus the Lena, WellCare, Presbyterian, and United Healthcare. And until they solve this problem, we can't get paid for any.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we will have Shauna Hartley. Good morning. So,
For the audience, there are some handouts up on the table area and presently posted in this part.
yes, and this presentation has to do with the opioid remediation collaborative update. For the presentation.
Is this look like it's real?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So thank you for allowing me to come back into this work. So my name is Shawn Hartley and I'm the Executive Director of the Opioid Remediation Collaborative. The first slide that I wanted to present was just some updated information on the opiate epidemic. The good news for New Mexico is that the overdose deaths are going down. This is the data for 2023. The data is always 2 years behind. The deaths have gone down for the last 2 years. In 2022, there were 997, and in 2021, there was over 1,000. And so in 2023, there was 948. Some of the significant findings to talk about is that when you find that fentanyl and methamphetamines is present with overdoses, that tells us that people are using street drugs still. Fentanyl was found in 65% of the overdose deaths in 2023, and methamphetamines was 51%. The age group affected was between the ages of 25 and 64, and the bulk of the individuals that passed into Mexico were 35 to 40. And what they found, for the most part, the overdose deaths in New Mexico were what you call unintentional, which basically means that there was not a suspicion of suicide. The next slide is just a recap of our strategic plan. It gives you the highlights of 2024-25 and what we're going to be working on this year. The last time I was here, I was really talking about what we were going to do. And now that I'm coming back, I'm pleased to share that we have completed the tasks that we talked about. Some of the significant things to talk about is that last fiscal year, we were really in a startup phase, trying to start up different things, looking at digital services for people. And the reason why digital services are important is because not all people want to engage with a therapist for treatment. They want to be able to do that on their own time. And so I'll talk a little bit about that later in the presentation. We have our 988 outbound call navigation system stood up, and I have some data to share with you specifically for Captain County. We were able to stand up 13 videos from our addiction medicine physician who's a part of our project. So on our website today, we have new training opportunities for medical providers. We were looking at working with the juvenile justice system and starting a new prevention program for them. We were working on posters. We had done the Deterra disposal pouch project for all 7 counties. And in 2024 and 25, we were really looking at improving our website so that people could easily access our newsletter, send information to me if they wanted me to work on some issues. So the usability of that website is a lot better. In this fiscal year, we are doing a lot of promotion of the resources that we were able to stand up in 2024, and I'll talk about that. We have started a youth advisory council, and we actually have a representative from Captain County on that. We are exploring some prevention resources for elementary and middle school kids. We really focused on high school kids last year. And so we're going to start moving into a different developmental level this year as well. Each county has their specific strategy. So I'll talk about what Captain County is focusing on. We are also working on data outcomes because we want to measure what we're doing. And we definitely want to work towards decreasing stigma and creating spaces for people to access recovery services if that's what we choose. So for Catron County, I've been working with Deborah over the last couple of months, and the 2 specific strategies that she has identified for her county in concert with the resource leaders that we've been working with as well is to promote anti-stigma campaigns. And basically, what that would look like is we really want to just start to work on messaging for people that if they want to get help with any kind of addiction issue, that they shouldn't be ashamed or feel scared about doing so. We can do that through campaigns. We can do that through what's called credible messaging, which is identifying somebody in Catron County that might be in recovery and might have the voice to help people get help if that's what they choose. The other thing that we're working on is improving medication safety. And your county is actually leading, the DeTerra pouch, access that we've been working on. And so you want to make sure that people are able to dispose of their medication if they would like to do so in an easy way to do without having to go to the police department or to the fire department to do a drug take back day. And also what we're looking at is perhaps purchasing lock boxes for medications, because sometimes people are prescribed medications that are controlled substances and they don't want their family members to have access to that. We also have 2 addiction medicine physicians that can also help with any providers that work in Catron County that might be wanting to assist people who are actually on opiates for pain and move towards something that's less dependent. So the highlights for Catron County this year is that this county is particularly focusing on making the DeTerra pouches more accessible. We are now attending the health councils on a monthly basis. We have connected with folks now to participate in Catron County events. And one of the other things that we're doing as a team is Catron County is a part of LC7. And I'm sure you're familiar with the SB $3, the regional planning that's happening across the state. And Catron, Socorro, Sierra, and Torrance are part of one regional district. And there's a lot of steps that people are having to take to access those dollars. And so myself is helping Catron County, which is part of LC7, work through the application, make sure that we hit all the deadlines, do the assessment of services that people might want to begin to access. And so we started working on that a couple of weeks ago. So the different services that we're promoting this year is that I just finished up the ORC Connections resource app. And I talked about this the last time I was here. There's some different components to it, but the long and the short of it is it's a resource that you can access on your phone. We have Catron County resources uploaded onto a tile. The person who uses the app can actually have go through a screening process if they feel like they are concerned about their using drugs or alcohol. They can go through a screening process and it will actually tell that person or recommend different next steps for that individual. It has different mechanisms for tracking. So if someone's wanting to not use drugs or alcohol, it can actually track that for that person. And it has videos and meetings that people can actually engage in. The other side of this app that I just finished is for families. And so if people have someone in their life that might be using drugs or alcohol, and they're struggling with that, struggling with giving them support, there's a dedicated app for people that they can actually get their own support. They can engage in meetings, they can get resources, so on and so forth. At this time, I'm working on our youth app. And so the next time I come out, that should be done. We've been promoting this at our health councils, and the month of September, we actually have 3 promotion activities that people can attend. So it really is training the behavioral health therapists or the substance use providers to help that person get onto that app. The next slide is talking about our 988 navigation system that was stood up the last time I was here, but the data was really not present. So basically 988 is a number that everybody in New Mexico uses when they have a crisis, but the ORC is actually teamed up with 988 to actually provide outbound navigation. So if somebody from Catron County calls 988 and they agree to that person supporting them until they get to that resource, someone from 988 will actually call them back as many times as they want. The data that I have for the last months for Catron, for May, June, and July. So in May, there were 24 total interactions. And what that means is that somebody texted 988, somebody called 988, and they were basically looking for sometimes resources, or they potentially could have been in crisis. 4 of those 24 calls, got kicked up to a licensed therapist because that person was saying that they wanted to hurt themselves or someone else. 1 person out of those 24 identified themselves as having a substance use issue. In June, there were 18 interactions. 7 of those calls got kicked up to a licensed therapist, and 3 of those individuals identified themselves as having a substance use issue. In July, there were 21 calls. 7 of those calls were kicked up to a licensed therapist, and 0 individuals identified themselves as having a substance use issue. None of those calls resulted in an EMS intervention, meaning that EMS was not called because of that. But this data is important because this is a really good resource for emergency management services. If they go out to someone's home and it doesn't merit that they have to go to the hospital or something else has to happen, we can really start promoting 988 with our outbound navigation system. And I'll be working with Deborah around trying to get the word out for that. The next slide is our Youth Advisory Council. As I stated earlier, we do have a representative from Catron County. We have 6 youth across our 7 counties. We've established our mission statement. We're in the process of actually establishing ourselves as a chapter. And our youth group has a plan that we want to do at least 1 event in each county in 2026. The youth council is also going to be counseling myself on how to improve our website so it's more youth friendly. And they will also be assisting us with creating the app for kids to have exclusive services. The last slide I have is just promoting our Safety First prevention program that we are doing on Zoom. And so the last time I was here, we were kind of in that preliminary stage. I was working with all of the juvenile justice system districts with their leadership, working through how to do this prevention class and how to custom make that for all 7 counties. So we just finished our first 8-week course. We had 6 kids participate. We do have hotspots for them, so if they don't have connectivity, the juvenile justice system can actually lend those out to the youth so that everybody can be a part of the process if they need to. And we're going to do that for the end of the year in hopes of actually identifying a trainer so that they can take that over in each of the 7 counties, but we're committed to doing it as long as we need to. So do you have any feedback or any questions?
I've got a question. You mentioned that Catron County had 24 individual interactions with 988. Found that very interesting. 4 of the 24 were kicked up to therapy because they had substance abuse issues. What were the other calls? What were the subject matter?
So when any of those calls get picked up to a licensed therapist, they have a behavioral health issue. So it could be that they're not using any substances, but they might be having depression or anxiety. So the reason for the call is not identified on the data that I get based on confidentiality.
Okay.
Just that there was a triage and it got picked up to a therapist.
I'm going to keep this.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Shauna. I want to share that we're going to be having a special meeting on Friday, and we're going to be discussing a new initiative that the Opioid Remediation Collaborative will be discussing on Friday. That's to cover the costs of attendance for students and other folks, parents, grandparents, relatives, just the public at large, at school sporting events, and in both Reserve School District and the Kamada School District. So, number one, it provides an opportunity to reach. It's a prevention aim. It's an opportunity to reach students and parents in a place where they're together and to promote the activities of the ORC and to make them aware of the efforts that we put into play and the resources they have available. So I wanted to thank Shauna for taking the lead on that and for her assistance.
Going back to your question, if you wanted the data on a regular basis for Catherine, I could send that to you. So I get a report every quarter, and I can send you a report, after I receive that, so that you have that on an ongoing basis.
Thank you. One more question. So have you found within the 7 counties that pretty much the problem is associated similarly, like with the percentages of the population? Or are there other counties that are heavier inundated with problems? Does that make sense?
It does. I would say that the similarities in all of the counties is stigma. That's something that's a very common thing. So in all 7 counties, regardless of its population, which Valencia is the largest, it's over 76,000, people are struggling to get help because they're embarrassed or they're shamed for that. They're worried about people talking about them, getting services. I would say that in the South, there's a lot more methamphetamines as you get closer to the border. So in Hidalgo and Sierra County, and right now we actually, I just got access to a report through Synchronicity. So we have the ability to actually go into a portal and look at the diagnosing codes in all 7 counties. So I can start to see exactly the affiliation between fentanyl and methamphetamines and so so I would say geographically, people's using is different based on where they live. I don't see that so much in Guadalupe County, and I don't see that as far as in Valencia. Places that don't have a lot of resources, I was listening to the Cowboy Clinic, and I'll reach out to them when I get home so that we can talk, because there is an individual on my team that is really, really well versed in maneuvering through this really hard system, which is the state, and getting on board with that. And so I think in rural counties, it's harder for providers to get stood up because they give up sometimes. It's hard to keep going through all this red tape you have to go through. So obviously the counties that have more providers have more resources for people. Catron, Guadalupe, and Hidalgo were my smallest counties, and I would say that services are not stable. So there might be a provider and then there's not, 6 months later. Therefore, I think people don't have consistent recovery because they don't have a consistent person to work with.
That would be awesome if you could get with them and then even be able to work in conjunction with them.
Yes.
And maybe, you could coordinate your services through the Cowboy Clinic. And if they're gonna have that behavior specialist there and stuff, yeah, that would be great.
Well, we could also look at the OHC dollars to support some of those services. So, what we've done in other counties, for instance, Socorro, for example, we can support a salary of someone who is working with individuals with substance use issues.
Okay.
So there's that opportunity too. What we're doing with other providers and other counties is that the addiction medicine physicians that are part of my project, they know how to do medication assisted treatment on an outpatient basis. And it's a specialty. So what we're doing in other counties is we're actually doing a lot of training, and she's supporting those providers how to learn how to work with addiction on an outpatient basis so they don't have to go to a hospital setting.
Yeah, you have all the contact information, for Cowboy Clinic and stuff. All right, well, that's good. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, we are gonna move on to Commissioner Activities Report. And I'm gonna go first this morning. There's been multiple things that have happened, various things, but since we're kind of talking about medical stuff right now, as part of my report, I've been working with Catron County Cares, and I'm gonna invite Miss Barbara Valesquez up to tell you about some things that they're trying to do, because we do have an aging population here in Catron County, and so that's one of our chief concerns here as a commission and as citizens. So I'm gonna turn the time over to you, Mrs. Velasquez.
All right, thank you. We started a process for another 501c3 to help with the health access part of Patrick County. We realize there's a lot of concerns, a lot of needs. And so we applied for 501c3 in January. We're still awaiting our letter from the IRS. We're not very speedy as far as getting that information for us. But basically, our goal is to improve healthcare access for citizens of Patrick County through practical, community-led solutions. And some of the things that we're looking at for the future and for right now, immediately, we're starting to do CPR first aid classes for the community. We're starting in Daryl, Kamado, and Paitu right at the moment. We hope eventually this spreads throughout, but we're starting there. We're also starting with putting up stations, pods we're calling them, in Daryl and Paitu and Kamado. Okay. To have some emergency equipment. How many of you know how long it takes sometimes for an ambulance to get there when you're called? Yeah, sometimes it may be too late. And so what we are looking at doing is putting an AED in there, in that pod, oximetry, small first aid kit, and Narcan. Now with these, we will have tags, we will be able to monitor what's in battery. We have looked at all of those things, and we hope to have those in by the end of the fall, like the beginning of winter months. So you can look forward to that. But down the road, we want to look at bigger things. We have been fighting for what's called a community health worker. How many of you know how often people are taken to the hospital and 2-3 days later are what? Back in the hospital. We don't have the follow-up. Community health worker would be able to go to somebody's house when they come out of the hospital, help them with resources and help monitor that to hopefully prevent some of that from happening. We do not have home health care and hospice here. We worked really hard to get hospice and now it's not here. We did get it in here for a while. We are in talks right now with PHS about palliative hospice care for this Patrick County. And we'll tell you more about that when we finalize everything and get things going. Right now, they're willing to work with us as far as having it in patients' homes with a referral. So as that program develops, and we're still in the working that right now with the CEO and the PHS people to develop that program. We're also going to be looking at caregiver training. I'm a retired nurse, Joanne's a nurse practitioner. Our phones ring off the hook, literally. People need help. They don't know how to take care of a loved one when they bring them home, okay? And so we will be looking at doing that this year because we feel it's a big need. We also collect DME equipment, come to my garage, as well as some of the fire stations. I had to give some to the fire stations. I'm on overload at my place. But we hand out, we have a hospital bed now. We have diapers, we have chucks, we have all kinds of equipment. So whenever we hear people call, we give it out. You know, right now I wash it all up, disinfect and do that, and then hand it out to the next person. So, and I have a lot of equipment out right now because there is a huge amount of need in Patrick County. So that's why we started this 501c3 because it's called Catherine County Cares. We'll pass one of these out to all of you here. We started this because we feel strongly about this need and we wanted to pursue this, stay in this avenue. And the other thing that's happening is the need for more transportation to medical appointments. So those are our concentrations right now and our focus. So I wanted to also let you know that we have been awarded from the National Rural Health Association a consultant to help us with our 501c3 to get off the ground. This is Susan Coons from Arizona, Tucson, and she is going to be with us to help us, to mentor us, to help us with grants, and I'll let her tell you a little bit about. Good morning. Thank you for welcoming me to your meeting. I am just starting to work with Catherine County Cares, and I timed my first visit here so that I could attend your meeting today because I thought it would, the more I can learn about the community, the more I can help. I'm a public health person, and I have been, this is now the third community that I'm working with it's a collaboration, mentorship opportunity where I'm able to, based on the needs that are identified for your county and what this nonprofit is trying to do, provide technical assistance and support, including finding funding opportunities, helping with grant writing, strategic planning, things like that. And these ladies are on the ball. I'll tell you that this little opportunity, it's not little, but it was announced last summer, I believe, and you all applied. 66 communities applied. They're all rural. It's only open to rural frontier communities, nonprofit organizations in those, and healthcare providers. And of those 66, they selected 6, and then a second 6. So your community is one of 12 that got selected by the National Rural Health Association to get this 12-month. They call it coaching. I don't like to say coach. I just think it's more like mentorship or friendship support. Neighbor from Arizona. So I'm just starting. I'll be working with them and anyone else who's involved with them for the next year. I'm also working with a community up in Alaska that has no air service now for a month. It's actually supposed to be in Alaska now. Decided to kind of get started here since till the island where I need to go has air service again. So we have it easy, I guess, compared to some parts of our country, right? So I look forward to learning more. I'm going to get out to all the communities and we'll be virtually in touch very often, and I will be here 3 or 4 times. And look forward to talking with any of you if I see you out in the community, and feel free to interact with me through them if there are ways that I can be of assistance. Because really it's about helping this new nonprofit, which is all about helping the community wherever we can. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Now Joanne's going to tell you a little bit about support that we could maybe help that we can use.
I'm Joanne Keith. I'm a nurse practitioner. I live in Quemado, and I'm one of the founders of this group. So there are 6 of us who are on the board. We're a small but mighty group with a lot of heart. We're all volunteers, and partnerships are going to be the key to our success. And that's why we're here today, is because we'd like to partner with the county and make sure that you all know we're here and that we open up this dialogue. 4 things that I think that we could do with our partnership, and we're open to suggestion from others, is good communication and input. We want to hear what the county feels it needs, what the people want, and we will then prioritize and do what we can to serve the community. That is our goal, is serving the community. We are currently looking for space to keep our durable medical equipment, the DME that you talked about earlier. These hospital beds, walkers, etc., take a lot of space, and they're in garages now. If there's any way in the county you have extra space, or you could think of us if there's a place that is not being used, we also are interested in, so not only storage, but a place to teach the classes that we have. We're using churches and the schools now. However, if there's anything else that we, could have a space for us, we would sure appreciate that. We are going to apply for funding. If there are any opportunities that you hear about, we are actively seeking funding opportunities. Right now, we're just been privately funded, and a significant amount. People are very interested in what we're doing. However, we are definitely interested in seeking public funding. And then just support. If we do go for funding, we hope that the community would support us, be a partner with us in our applications, and support the work that we're doing. So we thank you all for your time and attention, and please let us know what it is you need. If you see us around, come say hi, come get your blood pressure taken. I see some people here from the Health Council. We were a part of the Health Council for a while. We're continuing to partner with the Health Council at this point. We're not stepping on anybody's toes. We don't want to take over anybody's work that's currently going on. We are interested in filling in the gaps between. So hopefully there will be we'll all be partners, not stepping or, going into anybody else's.
Thank you. Yeah, and I know it's a big issue. I know having gone through it with my parents, just not having hospice services out here in the county is a huge thing. And hopefully we can get that established.
We're looking at different ways to do the telehealth exercise in somebody's individual home. We're looking at the data library to do a room there with a, a computer and whatever. We're looking at different avenues. We're not gonna step on a clinic's toes. This is totally, outside of that.
Yeah.
We are working with EMS people. We are working with all the churches around us. They are totally supportive of what we're trying to do. Everybody that we've talked to. So we're really happy that the community has really welcomed us and is really doing this.
Yes, ma'am.
Does anybody have any other questions for us?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For what you're doing.
Thank you. The Mexico fish. Because I don't. The one.
Right out.
All right, so now we'll turn it back over
Okay,
to Ms. McQueen.
there's been a lot going on. It seems like it's just a blur, but, we had the Game and Fish meeting where the New Mexico Game and Fish Commission came down and, I honestly, we had a lot of ranchers support and people from the community, and then we had overabundance of the wolf supporters there as well. And I think that overall, after that meeting, we had another meeting with some of the fish and wildlife people, and I think we're really getting somewhere. I know they're starting to trap and put kill orders out on wolves. They've removed quite a few in the last few months, and so that's good. As far as the CLA goes, for the first time in probably maybe forever, 5 or 6 years, we have every payment out that for every depredation we have, thanks there. And so people are getting compensated for that.
What should we use CLLA state funding?
So I'll let Deb tell you, she has the exact numbers.
So we are just about ready to send out indirect damages, which pays for low weaning weights and reduced fertilities. And that is $600,000 to, I believe we have 36 applicants there. So that'll be broken up depending on Fish and Wildlife Service does that calculation to determine who gets what. And it's based on wolf saturation areas and size of operation. We've also spent about $135,000 of the state legislative funds for depredations. So grand total of $735,000.
So about
by August.
It's been about half of our state funding.
Yeah, and that was supposed to last us 3 years, and we just accessed that, just keep in mind, we just accessed that in August.
So in 3 months, 2 months.
We've got some ranchers that don't send the depredations in until like they right at the end of the year. So when somebody sends, like 40.
So yeah, one rancher sent in like 32 claims, and for them, it's just easiest for their operation to track them all at once versus a year when they're.
Yeah, it's up to them.
Hopefully with that, because our problem's not gonna go away, only gonna get worse the more wolves put on the ground. So hopefully, the next session in the legislature will be able to get more money, because we're gonna need it. There's more ranchers coming on board all the time, needing funding and more depredations. So it was, all in all, it was good. It's good that the commission came and heard for themselves.
Going.
I'll go on. I've talked a little bit with the Forest Service here and there, and And also there's a lot of good happening from the chief, saying that they're wanting more timber sales, wanting more vacant allotments grazed. And so like for here on our community, that's a good thing for Catherine County. If we can fill the vacant allotments and get more timber sales and stuff, so.
Timber sales are huge. In fact, I've been thinking we need to make a trip to, I think it's Lakewood, Colorado, where decisions are made primarily for rugby. They're receptive. So, and they're shocked when they look at how much lumber we were cutting 40 years ago.
We're in better health.
Yeah. Yeah, they're absolutely shocking, particularly when you look at the surrounding forests and how much timber they're cutting.
So we'll segue right in.
Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's been a month full of meetings. Audrey was talking about game and fish, and she covered the meeting well, but this was a substantial change in how Catron County is looked at by the Department of Game and Fish. The first time they came to this county, they have a commissioner. Second. Oh, the second.
Second, but it's been over
But-
like 25 years.
But we were able to get the first one set up, and then I think that because of the reception and things, I think that it's something that will be an annual thing now.
Good.
And the relationship that we have with the Game and Fish now.
Yeah, it should be. We're their number 2 customer. I mean, who doesn't pay attention to their number 2 customer, right? As far as the revenue stream for hunting license, right? Yeah. So anyway, the commissioners as a whole did a lot of work on that meeting, and I think everybody presented very well. I also had scheduled a meeting with Game and Fish commissioners to talk about the fish hatchery that purchased a significant amount of property around the fish hatchery, but they're not maintaining it. And the fish hatchery is a historic, I'm going to call it legacy point for recreation. Generations of people come to the fish hatchery and they've been ignoring it. We did have meetings set up with them, the local businesses and some local citizens, and it was canceled the day before. And it was all a political issue. But there's promises that they're going to re-engage with us, so and I believe they will. The county met with the Cowboy Clinic. I'm sorry they're not still here. We reviewed the building, and we talked about what work needs to be done to the building to support the Cowboy Clinic and their activities. The commission has already approved a $100,000 budget to improve that building, and it looks like it's going to be well spent. So the county is doing everything we can to support the Cowboy Clinic into moving in and continuing with medical services in reserve. Met with the governor about our public safety emergency declaration. Now, we entered into that declaration back in April, and we finally had to corner the governor at a question and answer session in Silver City to say, "Governor, an emergency declaration," and we hear crickets. But to the governor's credit, she did open up a meeting for us. She was very polite, inquisitive, asked good questions, informative, but she was adamant that she will not give us funding based on medical or based on public safety.
just won't do it. It does not meet her criteria. And she filibustered on that explanation for, I'll bet, 10 minutes. There was no arguing with her. But when I explained to her what the county wanted, she's had in one ear the Wolf Advocates saying, these people want over $1 million. They want National Guard, everything but helicopters flying around. And I explained to her, no, that's not the case. We need personnel to manage the wolves. And she was receptive to that. So she introduced two possibilities of getting money for additional employees. One was through unencumbered funding that is in her budget, and they're working on that now. The other is to put it in an appropriations package through our state legislation coming up in December and January. And she said she will not veto it if we request the money. So although expectations were low, it ended up high. And she did like the idea of Catron County generating a reality TV show. She did. She said the way you all live, the challenges that you're facing, this could be another Yellowstone. That was her quote. So we do have 7 action items that we're going to follow up on with that. I got one other thing. This is a question, and I think I saw Lou in here.
Just make the drop.
I got this email this morning that it said with PMS backing out of Catron County, does that mean they're also backing out of what they do for our senior centers?
No. Currently, the senior center programs are
With PMS's assistance?
Right.
Terrific. That's it.
All right. Okay, we will keep our meeting moving, and we will go on to the Forest Service report.
Morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Wish I had lots of good news, but I really don't. But we are still in fire season, which seems to be getting to be year round anymore. We either need rain or snow. We'll take either. I don't know when either one is really gonna come to large amounts. Hopefully we get some this winter. Just timber sales, I really don't have much to report other than we've got probably our booth timber sales going on right now as well. It's kind of getting towards the end. I will say, if you go to Colorado, tell them to send us some people, because we've got less people than we ever had before. We just had our timber sale administrator retire. We're borrowing one from the Apache Sick Reefs. We just have less people. I think we're down to over 2 people, 2 to 3.
Are you still on a moratorium for hiring?
Somewhat, where they're able to let us hire. Let's rephrase that. We're in a process of replacing or not displacing, moving people around, because we are actually removing, they're reducing in regional offices. We went from 9 to 3. So they're taking these regional office people and placing them back out in the field, which is not a bad thing either. But not everybody wants to come to
Give them the trees.
Quanto, Glenwood, they like Silver City, but they don't want to come to the other place. So, we'll see, but we always can use timber people. That will never be.
You got to be more friendly.
Yeah. Other than that, timber sales, we're trying to get one more so that we can put it on the books for sale. I don't know the exact date on when that will actually happen. Like I said, we have less markers, we have less pre-sale, we have less everything. Mainly what I wanted to come talk to you today about was outfitter and guides. And I believe you guys have an action item for maybe a letter of support, which that's what I was going to come and ask for. Your action item E. And and I've got a handout here that you guys can look over. Kind of on it's briefing paper fact sheet. what's kind of going on now is the Gila National Forest is one of the last forests that has, we haven't ever had a cap, or we haven't done analysis where we have service states and we say, okay, each forest has done this except for the Gila. And we established a certain amount of service days. As you guys, service days, service days, there's a definition there, it's the one with the asterisk. But just for an example, is we say we get a person that wants to have an elk hunter, or they're gonna be guiding an elk hunter, and they suspect it'll take 7 days to probably get the elk at that time. So they ask for 7 service days. And we've been actually, as you can see, we've got 103 permits with 10,907 service days. That numbers has increased a little bit because they're on the desired outcome. We did allow number 1, which we allowed 11 new proposals with a total of 550 service days. So both those numbers, just add those 2 numbers into the number of permits and service days as well. What we've been hearing and experiencing is that we have more outfitter and guides and people out there hunting. And then the first thing I want to actually say is we are not against hunting. We actually love it. That's one of the great things of, I mean, we have, probably going out on a limb, but I think we have some of the premier units. Unit 15, Unit 16As. Some of these units are probably some of the best I think in Mexico. That's my personal bias. But we have, what's going on now is we've got people stumbling over each other. And, you get out there to a certain area, the outfitter guys, they invest a lot of money, a lot of things, I mean, it's a year-round operation for them as well. And then to try to put on a good quality hunt and for their clients, the last thing they want is to get to a certain area where they've been scouting all year or whatever, and then basically get there and there's 4 other people there as well, which that's what we're kind of experiencing at this point. And what we'd like to do, what we started, and we've actually want to put a cap on service days to 7,500, 7,500 service days. And that's what we put into place. I will say that we've had a lot of people that weren't happy about it. So they're kind of pushing back. A lot of the people that are pushing back are new outfitter and guides, which I think that we've got people that have been doing this for years, that they're established in this area. And we got people, we're sharing out from other states, and they're coming in and kind of taking over what I call them the OG outfitter and guides, which are the ones that have been here for a long time. So that's kind of disrupted the good clients that we've had in this area. So what we'd like to do is try to put that cap at 7,500 service days. And then, but what we're willing to do is, we know that there's going to be people coming in and coming out, and we want to reduce the service days by attrition or retirement or no longer needed. We were just, that's pretty much like the handout that's got a lot more facts and pretty much recommendation in order to decrease the amount of hunting permits, in which we don't do the permits, but actually this is where so there's still that they can go out on federal land. Just to establish a pool of 700 or 7,500 service days.
So how is that gonna work? So if they have, you said there's 900 some that are issued in the Gila to the outfitter and guides that are in the draw. Clients, I think I read that.
There was something in there.
953 honey tags.
Yes.
So if you did that math, what are they gonna do? Will it force them to just go hunt private land or?
No, what we're hoping they'll do is that they'll either start trying to either work together and say, well, okay, we'll under someone else permitted away, or just start working where we don't have island on top of each other in certain areas. But I honestly we don't have the answer on how what the solution on their side would be, just mainly on ours, so that we can provide quality experiences for everybody.
I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable, like I know on the Carson, they had it for a while where there was only 5 outfitters, period.
Right, and that actually brings up probably a good point there, is that, so what has happened is all these other forests have put their caps in place. We haven't shut the door, so guess what?
Everyone's here.
Guess what it's done? Everybody comes here. And we like for the people to come here, so it's just that, we're experiencing a lot of complaints nowadays that it's taken us 10 years to finally draw out, and we get it out, we pay money for an outfittering guy, and then we go out there and there's everything scattered to the wind. So we're hoping that we're just trying to, and it's not set in stone, it's one of those things where, we'd like to try it in process, and then that will also help us establish it. Now, the 7,500 days, we may increase it if we see that there could be a need, or possibly it could be a decrease, but that's kind of where we'd like to get a starting point this time. And,
I would think like, it's still gonna be like, don't you think it's gonna be the same if somebody can't get a permit or whatever, so they just call their buddy and then go into them, they're still there.
yeah, and it's still probably, I think the amount of days will probably jump out as well, as far as just requesting. And we do have some people, some outfittering guides, which, that's probably the thing that will help minimize, the amount of days also, is because we get some outfittering guides are requesting more days what they really need. So maybe let's say they'll put down the door. Let's say they requested 7 days and only needed 3. Well, then they can take back that board to something goes back.
Okay, so the question here, because I'm not familiar with how this works or whatever, but so if it limits the amount of service days, but you're not limiting the amount of outfitters or whatever that can apply, or so how is it done in other forests?
So other forests, basically, once that cap is met, then no more applications are issued or taken.
Okay, but would there be any kind of system in place where it would favor our own? So instead of somebody coming from say Maine,
right?
And is there any way that we would have preference for our in-state outfitters?
We do have,
especially our ones that are here within the county that contribute to our economy specifically.
Right. We do have what's called the priority use permits, and those are people that have probably applied, maybe hunted in this area or on the Gila National Forest for 2 years. They're in good standing. Well, they get a priority use permit. Now, let's say that person comes in this year and they're from Maine, they want to come for elk hunt or something like that. Well, they start out with a temporary permit. Now, sometimes we get those people that just come in, they apply for 1 year and never applied for the Gila again. So we have the temporary use permits and we have the priority. The people that have been here and are established, 99% of them all have priority use permits. There may be 1 or 2 that they started under a different name, or they were out of the business for a while and then started back up. But 99% of the ones, and that's what we would like to actually, we want to happen, is that our ones that have been priority use and been here for many years continue here.
Right. Okay. All right.
And hopefully that's enough information, and is, that's what we would have. Harley also will be presenting to Grant County Commissioners tomorrow, I believe.
And same thing.
Asking for a letter of support, of these things. Because we want still this to continue, we just want it to be quality.
Okay. Yes, definitely. All right. Thank you.
In the report, the portions. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. All right, move on to the manager report. Mr. Muller.
The report was included within your packet as requested, and also is the grant office report. I did not receive a report from the road supervisor, Mark, and it's their staff. Colmado is up at York Ranch Road, which is north of Pipetown, and they are putting in, I believe, 23 culverts. They do have a strict deadline, so unfortunately Mark is not able to provide. Do you have any questions on the report provided?
No, it's a good report. Thank you.
I do want to take this moment to just say thank you to the commission office staff. They put in about 3 12-hour days getting the packets together for the game, the commission meeting for those 3 days prior to. So the staff worked long hours to make sure we had professional looking, handouts.
I think we stepped up to the plate for it. I really do.
All right. We have the department's reports already. Is there anything additional that any department, other than the reports? Yes, ma'am.
Our veterans outreach was very, very successful. The veterans service said that they had a better turnout in county than counties in bigger county. And we will have that.
Good. All right. We will move on to action items. Do we need a break? For a break? We can roll on. Good, let's roll on. All right. Action item A, approval of a new joint powers agreement establishing the opioid community collaborative.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, you have before you a draft amendment to the ORC that would allow additional entities in without having to come before the Board of County Commissioners each time. The ORC could just simply take the action to add the members rather than have that go to each of the individual or school member counties.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I think that basically it's positive in that, the whole point of the ORC is to pool money, and especially it's beneficial for a smaller county like Catron or Hidalgo, and bringing in other entities. For instance, the reason that the entity of Los Lunas wants to join, they're going to bring in a lot more money to this pool than a smaller county. So that's going to benefit us. And it will allow these other entities to throw your money into the game. So I think in the end, the more money we have to spread around, the better.
Yeah, we've been taking this approach for what, 4 years now?
Yeah.
It's worked well.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Seems as there is none. Is there a motion?
We'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item B, consideration of resolution 8-2026, budget adjustment number 1, fiscal year 2025 to 2026. Is there any discussion?
What are we doing here?
Yes. So this budget adjustment has to do with, Larry Manessas and his North Mountain Fire Department and Dow Fire Department are merging into a new fire department, District 3rd. So basically what this is, it's a budget adjustment to move the budgets for Horse Mountain and Daddle, merge them together and put them into
What?
District 3rd. Yeah, put them in one. This is not this is strictly an in-house courtesy. It's not a DFA requirement. It's like because DFA at all.
Okay,
It's just
everybody's on board with that?
yeah, Larry's right here if you need any questions.
Yes. Okay. All right. Is there any?
If Larry likes it, I just plumb love it.
Is that a motion?
Yes, that's a motion.
I'll second.
Been motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item C, consideration of resolution 9-2026, ordering the imposition of the 2025 property tax rates as required by law. Okay,
I want to step in if I can. I did a kind of a breakdown sheet so that you guys would understand what had happened. I do.
This makes me nervous, Lily.
No, it's good.
It's good?
It's good.
Anything with property tax is never good.
Oh my gosh, and this year's been a tough one. I'm not joking.
I'm glad it's good though.
See at the top, our 2024 taxable value was the 158,096,124.
yes.
2025 was 171,360,670, so we added 13,264,546 added value. So what happened in your tax rate analysis, if you see in District 1, residential went down, the non-residential went up a little bit, but the total difference was a 0.610 drop in tax rate.
Oh,
So District 1, residential went down, non-residential went up. The total difference was also a drop in 0.667. District 2 and 2A ended up with actually a raise of 0.223, which part of that is there's additional school stuff. The cattle went down 0.716. The sheep and goats went up. Dairy cattle went down a lot. Bison went up a little bit and horses went up. Then the Sierra soil and water stayed the same. So we reviewed the tax rate and we're good with that.
Okay.
Good job of your staff in adding all that value.
yeah.
Yes, they are good.
Thank you. So Lily,
Yes,
do we have any dairy cattle in the county?
we do. We
Really?
have a few, yes. We don't have any bison or ragtime, but we do have some dairy cattle.
What is that time?
They're like ostriches and
Okay.
moose and
I think we need some of that up around Pomona.
Well, I was thinking that there's a place with the irrigated pivot and stuff down at Linwood.
We could, maybe, but
All right, thank you.
Lily, help me understand, added value goes up very good, and that equates to the tax rate going down.
yes, here's the yield control formula. So the first year that you put added value on, it's not in that yield control formula per se, but it keeps it level so you're not having real big high jumps or real big low jumps and kind of maintain. So naturally, everybody's budget more or less goes up. So when we put on more added value, that mitigates it and keeps it,
This is
more
good.
level. Does that make sense?
Yep. Nice.
All right. If there's no further discussion, is there a motion? I'll second it. Two motions second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item D was what was struck from the deal. Item E, consideration of letter of support establishing a moratorium on issuance of new outfitted guide permits within the Gila National Forest. Is there any further discussion on this?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really, I'm struggling with this. I believe the Forest Service has already put a moratorium on, right?
Yes, but they can be increased, but not that super days.
So you've already done it and you're looking for letters of support.
So what is it right now?
Well, we actually went down, well, obviously, we're at the 7,500 right now.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
So this would just be supporting where numbers are at right now?
Correct.
Okay,
And that's right, the current status was where Audrey was asking about the 900 and 5,300 tags. The average trip length is 7 days, resulting in 6,671, which is a little bit lower, so we're allowing, but we're just willing to see if you guys are within 4 or 7,000 miles.
Okay. Well, I find that visible.
And I did want to point out that other table, we're just talking about the hunt hour, with the backpacking, the horse trails, ride, jeep tours, packing, horse school, that was still, those days will be incorporated, strictly hunting, right?
I'm gonna recuse myself from even talking about it because I am out there. So I'm not in this.
Yeah. So I got a call from Harley a couple of weeks ago, and I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks now. It's really, I'm walking the fence line on this. I understand the reasoning for this. You want good experiences out there for the hunters. And I think you used the term, too many outfitters end up overpopulating the quality units that we have. I get that. And we've got good quality legacy outfitters, the multi-generation outfitters that are very successful. And those folks are successful for a reason, right? I think they're successful because they outwork their competition. I believe they're successful because they have initiative. They know the areas. They pay attention to their customers' needs. And I'm bothered that the other forests have put in moratoriums, and that leaves our quality. I think everybody heard me say we are the #2 customer for New Mexico Game and Fish because of our quality hunts and the people that come in and hunt. I can tell you one of the first bumper stickers I put on my car was, remember I Heart New York and I Heart San Francisco and all that foolishness? Mine was I Heart Capitalism. That's the first bumper sticker I put on my car. I really struggle with government saying to a business, nope, you can't come here. I understand why we do it, but I struggle with it. It's not what has made the U.S. successful, in my mind. And I like the idea that we have priority use permits, because that means the good capitalists that have come in here and done a good job for their customers, we're giving them some priority. The ones that don't do a good job, they're going to come here and mess up people's hunts, and they probably won't come back because they will get a 1 rating star on social media, right? Instead of a 5 rated star. So that's the fence line I'm walking. I believe New Mexico Game and Fish sets the number of tags, right? So typically what happens, I guess, with some of these small outfitters, somebody will draw a tag and then that person will hire an outfitter to come help them, right? So we can't control that.
There's a lot that needs to happen. There's people that are outfitting them for us without paying fees and everything else. Like, they've got to do something to clean it up. So just speaking as an outfitter and talking with the other outfitters that have been here for years, this is a good thing. They're not trying to discourage people from hunting, but more than anything, people that are hunting here and getting their permits and stuff, and you need to be paying the gross. It's a 3% gross fee to be using it.
Yeah.
Instead of just coming in here, not paying, trashing the floors, cutting permit fences and driving forward everywhere, like that's happening.
Yeah, and it's because people want to come here and hunt. Yeah.
But they need to do it right, and I don't think this is a horrible ask. They're not trying to chop people up, they just need to be doing it right.
Yeah.
They're not trying to, I don't see this as they're trying to cut outfitters out or cut people from doing business here or, you know, I don't look at it like that, but.
Well, I kind of do. You know, if somebody draws a tag and they want to hire an outfitter, I hope they're intelligent enough to go to our legacy outfitters that know what they're doing.
That's part of the issue. And don't want to live it. It's who they get to choose, but you want you out there guys. This or that are the priority use ones, the established out there that I know pretty much they'll go out and be fine or they first together.
Right.
Next year probably, but the other ones.
Look, the guys that are cutting people's fences and riding their side-by-sides off trail, if they get in on the first 7,000 service days, well, they're going to be out there cutting fences and riding ATVs off trail. We really can't control the bad behavior of outfitters by limiting the number of outfitters that come in.
I think we have something in place to our priorities permits are have priority over those around.
Yeah.
And then the ones that are temporary, having that.
Yeah, I don't think this solves the problems of the bad outfitters. I really don't. And it boils down to that bumper sticker that I bought 35 years ago.
Right.
A good capitalistic market finds its level. The good ones survive, the bad ones don't. It's the way it is. And you always have additional bad ones coming in. And I don't think this solves that problem. So the Forest Service has already established the moratorium.
There's not a cap right now, is there?
It's a soft cap at this time. Like I said, it's 75. It's really we're just trying it this year. I think that's what we have asked questions. So and the good people, to be honest, we probably should have been doing what we're doing right now. We the commissioner ask for support and then place the moratorium.
The biggest problem, Hayden, is that this wouldn't be a problem if all the other forests in the state weren't doing this. But since they're cutting everyone, then everybody's like, well, we can do this in the Gila, and everybody's here.
So here they come.
And that's, that's our problem. That was like the Game and Fish Commission talking about the shed rule. I'm not for more government and rules, but with all the states, neighboring states with closed shed season, everyone comes here.
Yeah.
And so it's,
So I guess the way I look at it, the Forest Service is going to do it. It's happening.
Could change.
Yeah, I get it. It could. I don't think the moratorium is going to solve the problem, but I understand why the Forest Service is doing it, and I understand why perhaps we should do it. But it goes against what built this country is a capitalistic approach. And I don't think it's going to solve the problem that we're having. So I hope I'm explaining this well enough that I understand it. I'm walking the fence, but since the moratorium is going to be there anyway, I need to take a stand and say, this is America. Let's solve the problem in a different way. But by cutting down on opportunity, I don't think is the right way.
The key word there is consideration. So, and you guys want to consider it, That's all we're not.
Yeah. So if there's no further discussion, no, like, hey, I can understand where you're coming from. Like I am them you.
I know.
Right here.
I know.
Like, so no, and the problem is with like capitalism and stuff, yes. And we as people don't want to allow the time for the process to go through. You know, it's like we see a problem, we want to fix it right now, and that's a problem because that's what people are asking the government to do. And then we get away from what this country is built on. So I totally understand. So if there's no further discussion, and if you're opting out because you're an outfitter, looks like there's probably going to be a standstill on this. So,
Well, and the Forest Service is gonna do it anyway.
It's one of those, like, this year was the trial, to tell you the truth. Next year, we can basically just go back to house on the land.
yeah,
And not put more glory around.
We figure out how to make sure only quality outfitters come to Catherine County.
I will say that we really didn't see any issues up until all the other forests closed more and more, except for the, yeah. So now we are the only ones
Yeah.
that have closed more and more. Because we're seeing a lot more fluctuation.
If I would have been asked to support Apache Forest or Cibola Forest or Carson Forest on their moratorium, I would have said,
So I will tell you, because I've talked to a lot of the fellow outfitters about what they think about it. And like in Colorado, where they have just a limited number of outfitters, it makes somebody that's been in business for 20 or 30 years, it makes their business worth something. So that if they go away, then that opens up a permit for another outfitter to step in. And so people that are getting out of it, there's always people like retiring and new people coming in. It makes that business worth something. Right now,
you could actually sell your
right
business.
now, a business that you have here, because it's a free for all, just to go get your stuff, you have nothing.
Yeah.
Something that you've built for 20 or 30 years. And so outfitters here in Catherine County, you know, that I have talked to, they're like, that would be nice. So that whenever we retire, we can sell our outfitting business along with the, you don't only sell the permit, but it would free up that permit where they could get permitted and it would help the outfitters. So that's another way to look at it.
Yeah, and they deserve it. They've worked
They've
hard.
worked hard and like, and their business is just air. They've got a client list, but not, I mean, anybody that wants to become an outfitter can be an outfitter.
but, and I don't know if by the government eliminating competition to increase value for a business is the right approach. I get it. Believe me, I get it. And consider me walking the fence. And I'm just tipping one way.
Mr. Lane,
Excuse me, but one of the outfitters that you just sold that to, Mark won't give you for it. No, I mean, you don't put him in a position to actually get that. On the other hand, I understand where you're coming from. That's right, our government based on supply and demand. If we left everything up to the other part, I guess it, nobody's messing it, take care of itself.
yeah,
That's what it means to do.
Look at what the government and the environmentalists have done to our timber industry. It should be free. Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Want to go there?
yeah.
okay, but so let's look at this on a, and compare it with the timber deal, okay? So if you had people coming in here that didn't go through the correct process.
Right.
Of getting their permit and establishing for the timber sales and stuff, and there was no regulation on it, what would happen?
Yeah.
And they were just coming in and, does that make sense? Like, I think, yes.
Just to give you an example of what happened out, the Forest Service has set aside $5 million to help Catherine County in a different kind of all of Washington kind of deal. Anyway, they put out a thinning contract their own property, because they're in the outfit out of Albuquerque, it's that contract. Because they can do it with illegal aliens and whatever else they got, they can do it for a lot and half the price. So it's the same kind of deal. Somebody comes in and they can see they can do it, that's the price,
They'll do it once.
they'll do this right.
Yeah. I guess, so if I can say anything that would help push you over the fence, because I know which way you're leaning and which way to go. So on private property, if there was no regulation and management, okay? If I basically opened up my property and said, whoever wants to hunt here can hunt, like the mess would be there. And if we don't allow basically the Forest Service to regulate, they're in place to regulate that land that they're over. And if I had no regulations and no control over my private land, it would be a wreck.
Yeah.
And so that's the only reason that I'm gonna vote in the affirmative for this.
Hey, and I remember the first year I got lucky enough to draw a tag in 16, it was 16A. And there were outfitters in front of me with out-of-state tags that were, I wanted to get down the road, they were slowing everything down, they were bugling that they didn't bugle like Audrey can. They were bugling like,
Nobody can.
Yeah, so I did it.
Okay. Well, if there's no further discussion, I motion that we approve this consideration, letter of support, establishing moratorium.
I'll recuse myself because I'm an outfitter.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
I know the more outfitters, the more people that, the better it is for business.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm leaning both ways with you guys.
Yeah.
Because I get the picture, but, we're struggling here. Absolutely struggling to survive. And the more people that come, the better it is for every business. And I see what you're saying, but I'm leaning a little bit in favor because I believe in capitalism too. And I believe that maybe you need to do something, but if the Forest Service has already started this, let's see how this goes. If it doesn't work next year, then maybe y'all can come back and reconsider what is on you all can do. But I have a hard time with the moratorium anyway. Because I tried to get you to have a moratorium on a general ledger and we didn't do any of that. So, I'm leaning both ways with you guys and I understand both of you and both all of the concerns, but I'm kind of looking into some business on those.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a thought.
We almost never disagree as a commission. We are a very effective commission, almost never disagree. And since I'm not gonna second, I don't think we're disagreeing.
No,
I think
I see your points.
We're just simmering.
So this would die for a lack of.
For lack of, well, it would.
I for lack of seconds, correct?
Yep.
But it won't stop anything that the Forest Service is doing.
Okay.
All
right. Moving on to item F, approval of DOT fund 93100. Capital Appropriations Project Grant Agreement for EV Charging Station in Piketon. Any discussion?
I guess there's gonna be, yeah.
So Chairman, just to remind the commission that last meeting, this was an item for discussion. And Commissioner Forward had a question about trash receptacles. DOT does not require a trash receptacle. So this will be located on county-owned land and maintained through a warranty by the DOT contract for 5 years. This is not near the fire station. This is on the east side of the property that borders Highway 60. So in your emails, I just sent you the grant application that was sent to DOT for this grant, and it has a Google Earth pic of where it is proposed to be.
Do we have to pay any money out of the general fund?
This is a reimbursable grant. Yes, so, but this, I've been promised, and granted it's from the state, that we hope their intent is to reimburse us, and they can reimburse us in stages, so it's not, we're not paying everything all at one, in one chunk, right? So we're going to do notice of obligations, and Donna's here, she can speak on the grant process. But we do notice of obligations. DOT has advised that their reimbursement timeframe is about
2 weeks.
That's what they're on record as saying.
So did I hear you say the maintenance? Let's say somebody swerves off the road and runs over this system. Who's responsible for the repair?
So we have Soma, I don't know if they're electric or solar, is actually the install company, and they will be doing the maintenance by contract. So Socorro Electric charges roughly 17 cents a kilowatt. The county can determine what they charge out for the rate of anybody using this charger. The going rate, according to DOT, is about 55 to 60 cents. So that difference goes into a fund that the county cannot use it as revenue, but it has to go into a fund, and that fund is like a maintenance fund, for lack of a better term, for 5 years. After 5 years, the county can access that fund. And that they can see, they can leave some as revenue, but they can also access some as maintenance and other revenue. So if they decide that they want to take out 50% of it and leave 50% of it there. I will say, so this would be the first EV charger in all of Catherine County. And the reason Hightown was selected was the thoroughfare on Highway 60. The last charger is Springerville, the first one. The next one is going to be Socorro. A lot of people avoid Highway 60 and they take I-40 just because it's a desert for EV chargers. It's not designed for the people that live there because nobody really has a charger and EV in Catherine County. However, there are a lot of people that want to come through.
So I don't think, let me restate my question. If somebody runs over this, it's damaged.
Yes.
Who pays?
So Soma Electric has I would have to double check. I don't know if they are the install and they do it a third party person.
Does the county pay?
Of course.
Oh.
No. It is.
Or
Pardon?
it's covered.
There is a warranty through the manufacturer.
Built up it. So for it's like a 5-year warranty. Somebody else takes care of it. And then we're accumulating money to get in an account that will go towards maintenance of it. And do we, I mean, this is 640,000. If somebody runs over it, is that 300,000 to repair it?
I think it really depends. I mean, that's also, now we have
Wipes it
insurance
out.
and things like that,
Yeah.
right? So that would be possibly an insurance claim.
But then again, we're out of electricity because somebody ran over a charging station. We have outages already. Last month we had 2 outages. How many surges do we have on that? We have the electrical system that can't even hardly handle the people that are moving in, and now we're going to put a charging station in at a drum pits. That don't sound like a good idea to me.
All right. Miss Phoebe, and then public input is limited unless you're called upon.
Okay, so I'm concerned about this. I'm gonna come at it from a different point of view. I'm coming at it from the finance director for the county. We are inundated right now with 20-something grants that we struggle to cover those grants. They're all reimbursement. CLLA is the same thing. It's a reimbursement. And yes, we've been getting money back better than we have before. However, I personally don't feel like we should be taking on any more grants until we can manage what we have and get them under control and get them. We may be entering a period of where funds are not available, and that needs to be taken into consideration.
What's our average reimbursement time?
I don't know. For a while, well, for a while there, it was months and months and months, and the county lost out. Right now, I don't know. Donna's been getting stuff back. She gets, stuff back pretty, but my point is that we have all these other grants that everybody wants to spend at the same time, and people don't realize the general fund has to cover those grants. We do not have the cash flow to cover all these grants at the same time.
Yeah, I heard 2-week reimbursement.
That's what for DOT.
Yeah, and I mean, if our standard reimbursement time is 2 weeks for all these other grants also, I think that minimizes a lot of
I've never
risk.
seen a turn around with any grant.
They're happy, and they're building, and they're counting. The problem right now that it's taking a little bit longer to give the reimbursements is because the state has been working on a program called PARS, where they are taking every single entity in the state, putting every single grant in the state on this platform so that there is more transparency.
What's it called?
PARS, P-A-R-S.
That's an acronym for
And I was trying to remember what the acronym stands for, and I can't. I'm right off the top of my head.
For partial account receivable.
Right. So they have been taking the last few months to get this up and running. It was live last week. I am so excited about this program. This is something that I wanted to walk into when I took this job last spring, and there was nothing there. There were no records. There were no spreadsheets. There was nothing. I started like this job had never existed before when I started this job. This will enable anybody who has access to this program, they can go in and see what has been done on each and every grant and when it was done. You can read the grant agreement. You can read when the notices were submitted, when they were approved, when the reimbursements were requested, and when the reimbursements came. Right now, I and Emily Wigovich, as the grant managers, have access to submit the notice of obligations and make a request. Deborah has to approve it before they can go. This is something completely new. Before, I could just submit whatever I wanted to submit without any kind of approval or tracking or anything other than what I am. The reimbursements, like I said, are taking a little bit more time right now because they're trying to upload everything onto this system. You can just imagine what a big project that is, because it's the entire state. I don't agree with Becky and that we should not ask for more grants, that we should not seek more grants. This county runs on grants because there is no tax base. There is no tax base whatsoever. The only way that this county is going to survive financially is if you can get enough grants and if you can develop this county so that we can get maybe a little bit of tax base in here, whether it's tourist dollars or whatever it is. We need these grants to do that.
Did I hear you say that this new program, and it's PARS, right? P-A-R-S.
PARS.
Is it going to improve the timeline to be reimbursed?
I'm hoping so. I took some training last week. They have training classes set up every Thursday and Friday from now through the end of January. They didn't address that specifically, but from things that were said in the two trainings that I have attended, that should be a resource also, as well as the transparency of what's happening with the grants. And so that you can see, so that some of the grants that we have in that grant office have sat there for 3 years with not a single penny being spent against them. If we don't start spending these grants, that revenue stream is going to dry up because they are not going to want to give Catch and County any more money or any. We are in danger of losing one grant right now because we have not spent the money wisely.
Which grant is that?
That's the NM Grove grant. That was for the condition of the seal and for storage and scanning. I didn't have this information when I did the grant report. But if we do not start spending that money, it can be pulled at any time.
Okay, and what is left in there?
It was $160,000. We have spent 16.
Okay. So could that be used on building improvement stuff?
No, it's
No.
a grant. No. It's a very specific grant. It was for the commission. It's for new software, new hardware, scanning, and digital leads, saving all of the records so that we have better access for info requests.
Right.
It's for that type.
So wouldn't changing of service providers where we get more consistent, would that fall under that?
So we're taking.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying,
thinking
we don't have internet.
So for that one, we're taking actions to use that,
Yes.
that funding. We have
Yes.
about a year left.
Okay.
No, we have until May.
So, can I interject here?
Okay, and then we're gonna move on.
Okay, yeah, first of all, I am not saying that we should not be going after grants. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying as a county, we need to look at things fiscally responsible, you have to understand where we're at right now. And I'm not saying Dawn has done a wonderful job at getting reimbursements. I give her kudos. She's the only one that's come along that's been able to do that. Prior to this, it's been a mess. It's been a mess. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we have so many grants out there right now that have been mismanaged, that are not taken care of. I am just saying, I would just like to take a step back for a moment and get all these grants under control before we move forward with any other grants. With the knowledge that has not been talked about, but with the knowledge of certain funds being possibly not coming through this year, we have to be fiscally responsible. That's all I'm saying.
Do you all agree that we need to have some idea of how long it takes to get reimbursed? I mean, if the average is 1 day, then we've got no problem. But if the average is 3 months,
It's gonna hurt us.
Right,
yeah, so you think we should try to get that information?
okay, so motion to table.
Can we table, or is this a timeline?
This grant does have, we have thresholds we have to meet. So if we've already tabled it once, if we table it, that's always a possibility, but I think it shrinks up our timeframe to actually produce.
So, yeah, I would love to get more information. The power source, is that really going to limit any power in Pytown? I don't think it would, but, and the property is gonna be maintained by the county though.
Yeah.
But the equipment will have a warranty for 5 years. And then there should be enough money in the pool for us to do the maintenance.
And Mr. Chairman, we are, the county, so there's a contractor, that would do the maintenance, and of course, is set to, the pool is set to provide for that, but just to be clear, like anything else, we are liable for the maintenance, we are liable for the liability, if somebody gets hurt, and that doesn't mean it's a good or a bad thing, but we are liable for that.
Because it would just be like a submersible pump. It'll go out a month after the one is up.
That's good for it.
That is sound.
I know when Deborah and I first started talking about this idea that I was really excited. I am not a budget person in any shape or form. But I was really excited about this because Highway 60 is a major highway between Arizona
Yes, sir.
and Burns. Yeah, people do avoid Highway 60 because of the lack of amenities. But if we have this, we can maybe start drawing people in. It would help Hightown, it would help that whole I-60 corridor. I think.
Pike could put up permanent signs in that area saying that advertise the Pike Company and that, yeah, there's so much that can be done. We have insurance, so our liability risk is what in reality?
Our liability insurance, yeah,
And our premiums.
yeah, if you have a.
And our deductibles. I mean, so we pay our deductible and pay our premiums.
And the deductible typically,
But would it affect our rates if we put this in?
Well, so I think what affects our rates is we're required annually to certify what buildings and other equipment we have to the NMCIA. So this would be included within that. So yes, in some way it's fashioned into our rates. And if there was an accident, then we'd be responsible for paying the deductible in addition to the increased premiums that result from the accident. So that is a reality of this. But there's other considerations, the considerations you've heard today regarding bring additional folks through along 60, and that's something you have to decide if that's worth it, in light of the potential exposure and risk.
So it's one of those things, everything that you do increases liability. But if we did nothing, we'd have no liability, but
Right,
nothing would get done. So that's why you will have to make the tough decisions. I mean, certainly I know people who avoid 60 because they have EV cars.
Yes.
Definitely. I mean, I don't know the answer.
Okay, we got 2 more brief comments. Mr. Captain.
I say if you get a private entity for the businesses like we discussed last month, then you come in and do that, why not? But I don't think the county should take on the responsibility.
And here's the one issue with that. We would love for that to happen, and that would be our chief thing. The only thing is that they are not making this grant available to a public deal. And so right now, like our stations that are here within the county, they can't afford to go and spend $700,000 and put in electrical charging stations. So like, we're not wanting to either circumvent or take away from any businesses or be a business structure as a county. So we would love it, but we also are looking at the aspect that if we don't have this, people are avoiding this as a thoroughfare. And 60 is a lifeline for those communities that are there. Piketown, Camado, Dattle, like 60 provides businesses. And I would love it. I would rather the county not mess with this and that they would provide businesses to apply for this grant, and we would not be involved at all.
in fact, we asked businesses to do that
Yes.
3 years ago.
Yeah, we tried to get it done. Okay, all right.
One thing you might consider is the school of Lakeside has the same deal. They was going to put in a charging station over there. Yeah, the Patsy said they didn't have the power to do it. So the school ended up buying some generators and on the charging station.
Wow. Okay. Power isn't a concern.
And you've talked with Socorro Electric.
Or Electric has already been, involved in this project, so
And I
like
think
the contract.
the engineering supports it, everything supports it.
My understanding is from that contractor, we've spoken to Socorro Electric, everybody is fine. Now, I will say also that Glenwood is also one that is interested in a charger because once again, the 180 corridor is in the same situation. And a lot of people avoid the catwalk and it's because.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for marketing.
Yes.
And if the liability is minimal on the county and the benefits are, Becky's just got me concerned, and I'd like to know.
As long as we're gonna get reimbursed. We're getting reimbursed in 2 weeks.
So DOT has promised 2 weeks, and that I imagine is going to fluctuate. So NMSU reimburses us for CLLA, that's a 30-day, right? So, and I think it really depends on the needs.
Okay.
So here's my concern. I'm not for this or against it. I'm coming to you, the job I'm being paid to do as finance director, to put it out there. I came to you earlier in the year and asked for $600,000 from the savings to cover grants. Okay, because we go into the negatives. My concern is we're already gonna be blowing through that 600,000, so you wanna take on grants more, but don't be surprised if I don't come to you again and say, hey, we need to up that to 800,000, okay? This is what it has to flow. I am not allowed to show any negatives on my quarterly reporting to DFA.
All right. Yes.
What we need to do is manage our cash instead of let it sit. 600,000 she had asked for back in June, the day after I moved it. Well, this community, we don't need that. We don't manage the cash currently. It just sits and does what it wants. If we manage our cash in a professional manner, we can move things around, we can cover something for 30 days, get the cash rolling over, and we'll be fine. That's cool.
All right, well, we'll discuss.
We're already doing that for the GFA. That is my budget adjustments. That is transferred. We're already.
Okay, well, these discussions will be for other. All right.
Hey, and they're good discussions.
Yeah, no, it is. Okay,
So are we gonna table it until we know how quickly we get reimbursed in general with the other grants? Or do you want to vote on it now?
I think we have to either, I think we're at that one.
Like I said, every reimbursement, Donna and Rick can advise on how fast we get reimbursements, but Colonias, I don't know what it are, they are,
All right, so I had a meeting with Colonias a few weeks ago. I finally came to an agreement with them. Colonias, Stantec will no longer be billing the county for Colonias reimbursement because Stantec can go straight to Colonias and get the money.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Only thing they will be sending to the county for Colonias grants is like an informational invoice of what came out of that grant so we can keep track of how much is that. The DOT grants are different. DOT grants are disbursements rather than reimbursements. County cannot even ask for that money until whatever in kind the county has agreed on with that specific grant has been met.
those are the road grants.
yeah, there's nothing in kind here.
So, Colonias isn't even on the table anymore as far as reimbursement from us. All of the other grants, the FFA grants, the FAA grants, the airport, those come back fairly quickly. Those usually come back within a couple of weeks, and those are usually pretty good. They're pretty good.
Ready?
All right,
The other grants, it depends on how fast the FAA can get to it. So they're anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks when we get that.
okay. There's no further discussion, is there a motion?
With all the information we've gathered, and I think the information is thorough, I will make a motion, we approve.
I was second.
It's been motioned and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Deb, can we post something on the website so people can see where it's going to be? I know there'll be a ton of questions from Daryl and by now.
Okay, moving on. Item D. Delegation of authority to purchase fire PPE for Coyote Creek Fire Department. Is there any discussion?
Do you gentlemen have any, and lady, do you have any question for me as it's just a normal purchase of protective equipment for the firefighters? The equipment needs to be replaced every 10 years according to an FDA and for safety of the personnel.
Grant money
No, this is money that is in their budget.
in the budget?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? If there's not, is there a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay, item H, acceptance of 1994 Laverne Class A structure engine from Donahanna County for Coyote Creek Park, the Fire Department, District 11. Any of the, we'll open the floor for discussion. Is it a good unit?
So, my understanding from the fire marshal's office, who has put the two counties together, that this is a good truck and will serve them in the time being to replace two broken trucks that they're on probation for because they have not been able to get them repaired.
Okay. And the fact that they aren't repaired is because lack of
obsolete, not able to get parts for one of them. The other one, every time they fix something, something else is broken on it.
So what will be done with those units?
They'll actually go out here to be up for auction.
Okay, perfect. All right, is there any further discussion? There isn't, is there a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second. It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Item I, approval of accounts payable, payroll, HR job description.
So Chairman, Commissioners, this was previously an item up for discussion. I do want to call out one small change. We did up the top end of the salary, $2,500 a year. We were told by TOP when we had the ambulance inspections 3 weeks ago or so that the payroll and the HR person needs to maintain all of the records for our volunteer staff. So that's adding another 50 odd people for her to maintain and making sure that the licenses are valid and current and the W-4s annually and all that stuff. So I had bumped it up to capture that increase in job.
Okay, so this would be changing the job description of somebody within the office now, or it would be?
It is
adding
changing, it is changing the existing, so existing, we have the accounts payable, payroll clerk. This would also add the human resources function to that job site.
It will have to be flown.
I'm sorry?
The job position will have to be flown.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
And the current person sitting there would have to reapply.
Fit within your budget?
Yes, Becky advises.
It was budgeted for 55. It's a lot of responsibility. I took the Valiant survey that you had requested in 2022, and I took the jobs of what it should be, and it hits up into the 60s. And so I feel that 55 is fair price because it's, according to the Valiant, like said, that was in 2022, so things have up since then. And it's a lot of responsibility no matter who's sitting in that position.
Okay. It's I know this is a small county. The payroll and accounts payable is synergistic, right? You throw in human resources, all of a sudden it's not synergistic. I would kind of like to discuss it further before we post it.
The previous person that occupied that position, Barbara Hudson, was the payroll and HR.
Yeah.
And then accounts payable fell under another position. So we combined payroll and accounts payable. And this is right now, the HR function falls on the county manager because it's not staffed. But we have the problem with the HR position has to be, like I mentioned before, you have to drop whatever you're doing to focus on that because it's an immediate issue.
Right.
And it's not something I feel that the county manager is capable because there's too many other responsibilities. So.
Got it.
I'm gonna,
So I would like to ask, you're hesitant, is the hesitation on moving it from 52 to the 55 or just the position?
No,
Reestablishment of the position?
Yeah, it's not the money.
Okay.
No.
I just wanted to make sure that, because I'm saying if that's what it is, keep it at 52 and move forward.
No, it's not. It's
I
not.
just feel like, this person currently right now is doing that HR job, and so they need to be compensated for it.
Yes.
we fully agree with that,
Yes.
but if there is no further discussion, I'm in a motion that this is tabled until next month's meeting.
Or if we have a special meeting, maybe we can take it up. So, and we agree with you completely. If somebody's doing the job, they need to get compensated. Our questions aren't that. So if we have a special meeting, which I think we're going to, we can tackle that.
I'll second.
Been motion second that we table this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approval of solid waste coordinator raise.
I'm gonna ask Becky to speak on this item. She's done a little bit more on, the current position, what they pay her.
I don't know if I want to be, I'm not getting anywhere. So, the raise it was,
Today may not be a day of action.
that's all right. I'm used to that.
But it's a
So-
day of listening.
Yes.
Okay. So previously, Mark had asked for a 50-cent raise for Charlie, and it should have been done the same time that Sherry had done her 2 employees when we approved that one.
Thought that it was done.
Yeah, and however, so Mark didn't understand the process, didn't get it in there. And so he was asking for 50 cents. Charlie is basically in a supervisory position because she monitors and she takes care of 4 solid waste sites. It's up to her to do that. Mark concentrates mostly on the road department. However, once again, I go back to the 2022 Valiant survey that we had done and I'm looking at it. And she's not even being paid midpoint. And even with this 50-cent raise, she won't be midpoint. So I talked to Mark about this and he was okay with me talking this and bringing it forward to you guys. The midpoint in 2022 was $19.10. I would at least like to see her get that.
What is she getting now?
So if you give her the 19.10, it's $1.07 difference. And I mean, they're an enterprise, they have the money in their budget to do it. It's not out of general fund.
Just the office that was closed during working hours. But
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I just heard that there was an office closed this last.
Well, so she is
during
one
business
person in the office and she had a medical appointment she had to attend, yes. And it was a serious medical appointment, so not that it's anybody's business, but.
Well, no, but I'm just wondering, and so my concern is of county offices and stuff, is that there should be contingencies in place where if an office is going to be closed or whatever during regular business hours, and we have people coming in, it's like, if I'm gonna go anywhere and it's supposed to be open, and especially here in Catron County, you're traveling maybe an hour and a half to go there that day. I shouldn't have to call our county government and find out if they're gonna be open or not for me to take care of whatever I'm taking care of.
And I fully understand that and I agree with it. I just think there needs to be direction to that department saying, if you know you're gonna be off, bring a casualty to sit there and have to fall.
Right.
It's that
Travel
simple.
to other locations.
It's that simple. Yeah, she does have to travel to the sites and stuff, so.
Okay.
But that's a simple fix. All she's gotta do, she's got casualty. She can call them in and say, can you please come sit here with the door open and answer
Right.
calls.
Okay. Is there?
I know not, unfortunately, we are a small county, we don't have a huge budget. And I know not all of our employees are at the mid-level of that salary survey that we did.
I believe Hayden right now, I believe she is the lowest rate.
Is she?
Yes, I believe so. During that time, people were brought up to,
Well, yeah, and remember, we're not talking about Charlie.
We're talking about the position.
No, I'm talking about the position.
Yeah.
Even when I used to be in that position, and I fought it way back then because it is a supervisory position. You're in charge of it. At that time, I was in charge of 9 sites.
Yeah.
And, it was $11 an hour.
Yeah.
It's,
I wish we could all get paid what we
but I'm just saying
I just
that
want to be paid for what I think I'm in.
Yeah, that's,
the solid waste fund can sustain it. I mean,
And so it would be an increase of what, instead of the 50 cents?
as the dollar.
$1.07.
Okay, so double it. Is there any further discussion? And it's within their budget.
Yes, it is. We approve all those for meter rate.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item K, delegation of authority to purchase power cop for new, what is new reserve? I guess that's the new ambulance? New reserve EMS ambulance, reimbursable from the reauthorized ambulance grant. Is there any discussion?
So this is, our new top for the new ambulance. It is the remainder of the grant money, that we're trying to use up.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry. So it's the remainder of the grant money, and we have to use the funds by when?
That expires in June. It is authorized, but DFA has not signed it.
So, I mean, we need to get the authorization, let GFA know that it has been reauthorized, and then hopefully they'll move forward with their permission to actually go ahead and spend money.
Okay, so let me ask you, so if we go ahead and approve this right now, and they don't reauthorize it?
Then the PO dies.
Okay,
Now, what
that's all I need to
has
know.
been reauthorized, Deborah has signed it, I've sent it to DFA, we're just waiting on DFA's signature.
Okay.
And like for some reason, if it was to fall through on that, we have it within our budget to actually go out and purchase this. We're just trying to use up the grant money.
Okay, super. Yeah, because I know these power cops are only like a couple of thousand.
Like 15.
Yeah, 65. Yeah,
All right,
yeah, worth it though.
if there's no further discussion, is there a motion?
I'll motion.
It's been motioned second, affirmative, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item L, approval of MOU with Cost Solutions for NMSA for IT services.
Did you do your magic?
Finally, it took a lot of work to get this, to get the basic, we're entering into this on the state price agreement, so what that means under 13.129, we're getting the services at the same cost or lower cost. They had a hard time understanding what state price agreement was, and it took about a month negotiating with their attorney, but at this point, we now have it. I'll let certainly the manager speak about the details and, about changing IT services, because we do need to maintain 2 at the same time, for a while, we keep ABBA until things are turned over.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the increased cost of that since we're paying 2, but, the agreement is finally ready.
If we hire them, can we loan them out to the state so they can resolve our Medicaid issue?
There will be, as Adrian mentioned, there will be an overlap of services from both counties, both agencies. But we'll probably have to pay an additional $1,000 approximately. So as we transition out, it might be as high as 15, it might be 6 weeks. We currently pay roughly about $11,000 a month to ABBA.
And what was the new contract?
Leave it right around, I think initially it's gonna be the 12.4, and then they estimate about 10,700 a month. So it's a little bit less, and we're hoping for, Abbott they're not as responsive as I think you need as we are a county filled with one person doing a job, and a lot of, we don't have the ability for other people to sneak in there and do that if our machines are not working, and that's what we're running into now.
Right. Okay. We have the heads of multiple departments here, and so I'll just ask. Are you in the affirmative of this?
It's, oh, yeah.
Okay.
I like Kosh. Yeah, Lily was one that she recommended we return to Kosh
All
as
right.
fast as we could.
If there's no further discussion, is there a motion?
All motion we go to Kosh.
We'll tell Kosh we love him again. I'll motion it second.
Been motioned and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Item M, discussion, direction to staff regarding the electronic broadcast of county commission meetings. Open the floor for discussion.
I'd like to say something. So, having moved here from someplace else, I grew up in Mexico. My family is from Patrick County. I grew up in Silver City. But then I left, went to college, got married, and moved all over the Western United States. I ended up with a career I didn't want to have. I just wanted to move, stay alone, but I had a career. So I was drug along, learning technology as it came along. My brain doesn't work. But having moved back to Catron County, and like you had mentioned before, because the county is so big and we have to drive so far just to get transferred to a county seat for a commission. Maybe something happened. I had planned on coming. Maybe that something happened that morning that I cannot be here. I think having a Zoom meeting would be very helpful. I know last spring, when it was one of the book meetings, I wasn't able to get here, but I was able to watch it at home. And so I still got that information. I think that would be very beneficial to the citizens of the
Patty?
You guys see me a lot, see me as much as I can. I'm on a fixed income, driving 100 miles, 2 hours drive time to come down here, and because I want to know what's going on. And I want you guys to know that there's people interested in what you do. There's a lot of other people that are in the same position, and they would really like to see what's going on, be able to communicate. I understand that there could be issues with a lot of vitriol in the public discussion, but because we are so big and so far from, it would really benefit the citizens if we could just turn around and listen to what's going on. And that way we can stay a little more engaged. It's hard to be engaged, whenever you've got to drive all this way, and then half the time we don't know what all these resolutions are. But that's a discussion for another day. But I would really like to see the Zoom, and most of the people that I talk to in the county would like to see this.
I totally understand that. I'm just wondering if our sarcasm and humor will translate over to
Well,
it's like
but understand the sarcasm.
right.
You can put a disclaimer on. There you go.
Yes.
Can I share what I think is an example of these electronic transfer of meetings? Since COVID, we've been doing it a lot and we've learned a lot of things. There's and so have the wolf advocates. And what they can do to our Zoom meeting and public comment is very devastating. And I mean, these are people that say the most vile, disgusting things to us, death threats to us, vandalism already. They stop at nothing.
I don't want to exaggerate. It's not that they stop at nothing. They're very aggressive. So I've got a concern. The other concern that I have is like what happened this morning. Nobody's fault, but there was a delay. And in the example, I tried to listen to Bill 4255, a federal bill that was going to delist the wolves. It was Kozarsville. 45 minutes late. And then they come up and they talk about other things. It is the most inefficient way for you to spend your time. Sit there tapping your fingers, wanting. My recommendation is let's make it efficient and we record these meetings, right?
We need a real setup though. This is kind of hard. We need something that's solid that stays there.
We work where you can have an auto recording and put it in your thumb drive. You take it home and you listen to it at your convenience and you fast forward through what you don't want to hear. I think that's a wonderful, efficient option for those that really want to know what's going on with Michigan.
So, just to kind of capitalize on what you just said, since the meetings could the recordings be put on the county website?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. We don't have a website that's robust enough to upload that much data. I mean, these meetings, sometimes they go on for 4 hours, 5 hours, sometimes 14.
Yes, because I have a dribble type on it that I say.
Right. No, so and then you have that build up, and you have that back catalog and stuff. But
I recorded the 4255, and I got to where I wanted to hear and what I wanted to hear in about 10 minutes. Whereas if I would have sat there, it would have been 4 hours. So I think a recording is the answer for people that want to hear the mission.
And it provides transparency. And then some of us were here on the tail end of that on the Zoom Guild, and just there were multiple meetings where we had issues, had to wait to try to get it up and going again, everything. And so besides the other thing of being able to, you digitally splice things and you make something where somebody didn't say what they're portraying that you said.
Yeah.
I think that can happen to anybody. I mean, they could use anything.
Yeah, they can use that audio. But at least this makes it where they have to come and request the audio and we can have a record of who requested it.
Yes.
And with Kosh coming on board, I'm sure we can figure out how to set it up so the recording can be shared with anybody that wants it.
So.
I agree. I know everybody that lives in this county pretty much lives far away. It's like an hour to 2 hours to drive anywhere. And so I know there's people that want to know what's going on and that can't make it. Whenever you're weighing it all out, there's almost a lot more negative that can come off of using Zoom than the positive. And that's the sad thing of it. Adrian or Dave, they dealt with the other counties that had Zoom, and maybe they could talk a little bit about why to my knowledge, they've all gotten away from Zoom as well, right?
I think that's correct. I think a couple of the counties we represent don't do any sort of broadcast whatsoever. Some of the counties elect to record it and broadcast it or broadcast it live, but as far as most of the counties that we represent, if not all of them, have gotten away from any public comment on Zoom. And that's actually currently in your rules, so you'd have to change the resolution if you wanted to allow public comment. But currently, really after the nightmare of COVID, all commissions have kind of gotten away from public comment. It just doesn't work. It does create some serious constitutional issues as well. So I think the standard really now is some type of recording and replay or broadcast.
Right. If there's no further discussion, is there a motion?
Do we table this? Because it looks like we're gonna take a different approach.
What approach are we looking at? I guess kind of,
I
it's
think
either nothing,
function.
recording or broadcasting or you're not obligated to do it whatsoever. Again, so at least two of the counties we represent have none.
So
we don't have to record, like, I thought we were supposed to record.
You're not required to record any. But your recording right now is for you as the county clerk, as the clerk of the commission to create minutes. Now, once it's recorded, it is a public document and anyone can come and ask for the recording right now. I guess the question is, are we good with that? Currently right now, anyone can come in and input the recording and get a copy of it, because that is a public document. We're not required to even do that. You can sit and just take notes, but that makes your job really hard. The other option, of course, is to record it and somehow put it on the website so that people can listen later, or somehow broadcast it through Facebook Live available like that.
Thumb drives.
But what is it like if all the minutes that are written down that happen and they're on the website, why don't you read the minutes?
are all minutes posted?
I mean, that's what happened, and if they wanna know what's going on, just,
Call the commissioner and say,
or call your
hey, this
commissioner.
minute right here.
What does that mean, or what does you do?
Well, so one thing to keep in mind is we are working with Revive, which is our web host, and updating our website, and we can speak with them on having a button that, we place the recording, and it might not be immediate, it might be within a couple days to get that uploaded, but surely with our new website that we're in production with, and then it will be rolling out probably for another 4 months, but so we're just in the design stage at the beginning, but I'm thinking of putting something there that allows people to click and listen.
Well, yeah, I mean, the electronic broadcast, I think we all agree, we're in opposition to. So, this particular, action item, so you, whatever you want to do.
Well, so right now I would motion, so this is discussion and direction. So I would motion staff to look when we get cost in place, to wait till we get cost in place and the website on determining what the availability would be to either posting the audio of the meeting on our website or having someone come in to request. I would rather the request be done, but we can determine that after it's determined what Kosh is able to do and what the new website is able to do.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
So how, if we have this problem for Gator, if we do put the recordings on the website, how legally are they required to do?
Well, on the website, there is no requirement on the website because that's just a medium. Now, to be available for the inspection of public records, then we have to look at our schedule, but it's going to be years. It's going to be multiple years once. I mean, and that's already the case. I mean, just again, the clerk's recording is a public document. If somebody wants that document, they can come to the clerk's office and say, I want the recording. They pay their fee and they get to keep that. And that's going to be kept forever, pretty much ever.
Mr. Chairman, I might add, there is no fee because it's an electronic recording, and if they ask for it electronically, it'll be brought to them electronically through Google Drive or otherwise, and there is no fee for them to secure that recording from the county clerk at this time. So presently, any member of any of your constituents could reach out to the clerk and get a copy of.
So that's already available.
That's already available.
Yes. Did you get Buster's motion?
I got Buster's motion.
Was it? Yes.
A second.
It's been motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Items 10 and 11, approval of checks and registers and approval of payroll. Is there any discussion? Seeing as there is none, is there a motion?
A motion.
I'll second.
It's been motion and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We now move into executive session. Motion and roll call vote to recess regular session and go into executive session. And that pursuant to New Mexico State Statute, Section 10-15-1, only the following matters will be discussed in closed session.
Roll call.
So, is there a motion?
I'll motion.
I was second.
Good motion and second.
Roll call vote. District 1,
Buster Green, aye.
District 2,
Auburn Green, aye.
District 3.
Forward, aye.
We are now in executive session. Time is 11:56.
Thank you.
Sheriff?
Okay. Motion second to reconvene regular session. Motion and roll call vote. The matters discussed in closed session were limited to those specified in motion for closure and that no final action was taken as per New Mexico statute. Section 10-15-1.
District 1,
Buster Green, no action taken.
District 2,
Auburn Green, no, taken.
District 3.
Taken forward, no action taken.
Okay.
Time.
First thing, action item A, consideration of resolution 7-2026, updating appraiser and assessor's certification compensation. Is there any discussion? Seeing as there is none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that resolution 07-2026 approves the appraiser to
Motion to approve for the resolution on behalf of the assessor on. So,
yes.
Did you get that?
No. To approve the
the assessor compensation resolution.
assessor compensation resolution. Not that one.
Okay,
Okay.
that's it.
I'll second.
It's been motion seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And item B, direction to staff regarding clinic building. Is there any discussion? Seeing as there is none, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we direct staff to write a agreement between ourselves and the Cowboy Clinic that utilities will be paid 50% by the county the first year, 25% the second year, and 0 subsidies the third year.
It's been motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
This is the one you guys.
Okay, next commission, October 8th, 2025, 9 a.m. here. And is there anything else?
How in the heck can it be October next month?
I know, exactly. Okay, meeting is adjourned at 1:44 p.m.